following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Rock on! Welcome, everyone, to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. My name is Ron McCarthy. I'm one of your hosts, and to my right is a man who is currently training for the 2028 Olympics. He wants to try out for that flag football team, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing tonight?
Oh, I'll be there. And let me tell you, I got some surprise moves that everyone's going to see on the field in 2028.
Stop, drop, and roll.
yeah.
Oh man. Well. Actually, interestingly enough, I was doing a recording before tonight's live show with our buddy Josh Mahler from Rising to the Occasion. We're going to talk about, and we talked about the flag football for 2028. We did some imagineering about who we would have on our flag football team in 2028. That will be a later release, probably later this week, probably Friday. But in the meantime, we're on tonight. It's on week 6 in the NFL.
Oh yeah.
Before we do that, I want to remind you about our social media channels down here below on Twitter, Instagram, and the scarcely used TikTok. It's at NoCredsREQ. Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. You can also find us on Rumble. Just search No Credentials Required. And if you wouldn't mind taking a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channels all across the social media landscape. On the podcast side, subscribe to a myriad of podcast networks, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, wherever you podcast. Also, if you would be kind to rate and review, 5 stars is the preferred number of stars to rate. And also, if you have a platform, please have the platform to do it. Please leave a review. We might even read it on the air. And because we are a live show, we want you to engage with us. We want your comments. And Dustin, it's been a week since we heard that magical sound. I got to play it.
Here it is. My favorite.
That's right, folks. We want your comments. Engage with the show. This is a live show. And we usually do our formulaic things for week 6 for the NFL. But, I want to hand the floor to Dustin because we had the last 2 undefeated teams go down this week. And I want to hand the floor to Dustin for a couple minutes because he just needs to rant. He's got plenty of words from the 1972 Dolphins, you old farts. Go ahead, Dustin.
You continue to parade yourselves out there. This is, I believe it was Hank Aaron. I believe. Now, I'm not sure if I'm right about this. We all know my history of getting things wrong on the show. Maybe some real-time research can happen, but I believe it was Hank Aaron who once said, I will cheer for whoever breaks my record. I love having the record, but records are made to be broken. And these 1972 Miami Dolphins, they come out every time and they make a big damn deal every time that a team loses, and they go out and they're like, ha, 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 we still are perfect. Nobody's done it in the NFL. You played 12 games, I believe, in the regular season when you did
14.
that. Okay. All right. So I stand corrected. But technically, people have already beaten your record then. It's just that they didn't have the season was shorter. The season's longer now, so they got to do more games in an era where people are not now. I believe this era was over in the 70s in the NFL, but you also played in an NFL where people had side jobs in the off season because they need to make money. It was just a different time. But these Dolphins, they're hanging on, and it just reeks of like I said, most people, when a record is broken, even if they're salty about it privately, publicly they're gracious. They're like, I was happy to see him break the record. He deserves it. They did a great job, blah, blah, blah. Everybody makes nice. I mean, look at the way the Maris family treated Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, respectively, when they both broke the records, albeit with some controversy on both ends. But everybody remembers that summer of '98 and what it did for baseball. But these 1972 Dolphins, they keep coming out and they keep talking about it too. Mercury Morris, he's one of the most vocal ones. I'm always getting after him. Larry Zonka, you're not off the hook. You're not off the hook. And I don't remember Don Shula, being this vocal about it. But for irony's sake, I hope that the Dolphins record is broken by current Dolphins someday, because then I would love to see them. They won't know how to compute it in their brains. They'll be like, well,
their old heads will all explode.
Yes, and they'll be forced. They'll be like, well, I guess the Dolphins broke the record, but we played for the best Dolphins team ever. I don't know what to do. But that's about. I'm already sad that I've given airtime to these knuckleheads. But it reeks as the most tacky thing. I agree. I do not begrudge them of being proud of their accomplishments, but to do it in the manner that they do it, and then to have like sections of the media be like, oh, the Dolphins can crack the champagne. Who cares? That's it. That's it. I have nothing left to say.
Yeah, they're the kings of petty. They're the kings of petty. And your buddy Schmitty's already chiming in. Dustin is quite the cantankerous chap tonight.
Oh yeah, Schmitty.
He's been holding this in for 4 days, man.
I have. No disrespect to your Dolphins, but Schmitty and I go way back. High school, he knows my disdain for the 1972 Dolphins and the way that they always trot themselves out.
It's true. It's true. Now, while Dustin has a rant, I have a song. And the two undefeated teams fall this week, San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Philadelphia Eagles, for the first time ever in 13 tries, have fallen to my New York Jets. And I have put together a special song for this occasion. So I'm gonna take the floor here.
Please.
Excuse me. Me. Okay.
Instrument.
Oh yeah, I got to warm up the pipes. All right, here we go. Eagles cry on the road to misery. Cry, Eagles cry. Watch Jalen Hurts throw an INT. 1, 2, 3. Get low, get hit high, and watch your Eagles cry. Cry, Eagles cry on the road to misery. IGGLES Eagles.
I was wondering when because you teased it a little bit, a little glimpse into how the sausage is made. You teased it a little bit, and I was like, okay, is he going to do it to Fly Eagles Fly, or is he going to do it to Philadelphia Freedom by Elton John? Because I could have seen both.
Nope. Decided to do the Fly Eagles Fry Eagles Fry. I could have done that too, but I had to do it. My New York Jets, 3-3 getting into the bye week, but we'll talk about that. But go back and watch Victory Monday or listen to Victory Monday. Dan and I talked about it. We poured over the game and we talked about it a lot. But Dustin and I are here to talk about the NFL, and we're going to talk about the biggest upset this week. Starting off with the first upset this week, Dustin, who is your biggest upset in Week 6 of the NFL, the 2023 season?
Oh, well, with a slight honorable mention to your New York Jets, because, I knew that defense was good, but I didn't think they'd do what they did to Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. P.S. If Jared hears what you just did there, he'll probably have some retaliatory words on the Corner Booth podcast. I don't know, but
I don't care. I just had to do it.
yeah, very nicely done, sir. But I
Thank
have
you.
to go with
I carry a tune, but I don't carry it that far.
Yeah, you carried it further than you think. I would have to go with the Browns over the 49ers. This was a shocking game, and sorry 49ers fans, but it was just a little bit of a glimmer of hope for me as a Seattle Seahawks fan, because your Niners look absolutely unbeatable. But the Browns, I was shocked that the Browns beat them with a Deshaun Watson-less led offense. And the Cleveland Browns, without Nick Chubb, mind you, were able to run on the 49ers just a little bit. Jerome Ford, I think he had 84 yards, and then Kareem Hunt had that 16-yard touchdown run. So, they didn't run all over them, but they were able to run against the 49ers, which is something that not a lot of teams were able to do.
Yeah, I also had Browns over 49ers. The fact that Brock Purdy got sacked 3 times. I mean, nobody really saw this coming. I don't think even Browns fans saw this coming, because they're coming off a bye week. The first 4 weeks of the season was tough. They were missing their quarterback, their premier running backs out for the rest of the season. Their leading pass rusher went out injured in week 4. It didn't look like he was going to play, but it turns out he just hurt his ankle and he's fine. And it showed in this game. Myles Garrett has had a really solid game, and they took down Brock Purdy 3 times. Now, a lot of this had to do with the fact that 2 of the premier players on offense for the 49ers, being Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey, went out during the game with injuries. I think that had a lot to do. That kind of wrecked the mixed up the chemistry,
the vibe,
mixed up the chemistry a little bit, and part of the reason why the 49ers lost. And also, here's one thing about the Browns: they won the time of possession battle. They had the ball a little over 33 minutes. Browns had the ball a little under 26 minutes and change, but the Browns controlled the clock. And when you control the clock, most 90% of the time, you're going to win football games. Yeah. And they went up and also they overcame two interceptions by quarterback PJ Walker, who was in the game for them. So Browns, good on them. Kudos to you guys. I'll give you full credit with those wacky white uniforms they had that day.
Yeah.
But but it was an upset. I give them full credit. They do what they did. They did what they had to do, and they took care of it. They took care of business.
Yeah, this is why I had them as a potential wild card team on the prediction show. Now, I don't think that's going to pan out, not the way that they've started the season, but this is why glimpses of this Browns defensive unit can be really, really good.
Yes, that's true. Absolutely. No, that defense, especially their pass rush, has been pretty spectacular over the first 4 weeks of the season, and they wound up beating the best and one of the undefeated. They went up taking off the one of the unbeaten teams in the league. Victor Locke. Says Mr. McCoffee. Thanks for watching, Vicka. Appreciate you. All right, we're going to move on to the biggest disappointment. And for me, in my mind, it was the Vikings over the Bears. I was expecting Justin Fields to continue the hot hand. He's been stellar. He had been stellar over the past 2 weeks, with the exception of the bad interception at the end of the Denver game, the game against Denver. But the Vikings, surprisingly, their defense had a great game. They limited the offense for the Bears. They literally took Justin Fields out of the game with a dislocated thumb, and the Bears just got defanged. Now, looking at the final score, I wish this could have been my we would rather drink castor oil than watch this game of the week. How the Bears and the Vikings performed. It was an ugly game, and the Vikings went out and made it ugly, and the Bears just straight up disappointed me.
Yeah. That, I mean, just a little side note, the quarterback room for the chemical toilet is in trouble because Justin Fields is hurt. I did start him this week because I, like you, thought he was going to continue the streak he had been on. Anthony Richardson's out for the season, so we went out and we extended a contract to Mr. Matt Stafford, hoping that Matthew Stafford can at least bring some stability to the quarterback play in the league. But I do have to say that game definitely was a finalist for the Castor Oil game. My biggest disappointment, and I got to do it. I got to bring him up. Is Mr. Geno Smith. 27 of 41 for 326 yards and 2 interceptions. Now, the Seahawks defense played well enough where Seattle had opportunities to win that game. The Bengals, they didn't look as great against the Seahawks as they did against Arizona. Kind of a back and forth game. Kenneth Walker, he's a real one. I love watching that guy run when he gets loose. I don't know if he's as good as Breece Hall, because I remember we had the debate when they both came out. But man, he's a good running back. I'm happy he's on the team. But Geno just he didn't look with it like he as in command as he has been at pockets of last season and parts of this season. And it was just really disappointing because I was hoping that the Seahawks were going to be able to capitalize on this 49ers loss, and they just couldn't do it. They had an opportunity to go 4-1. It would have put them in a great position, and they end the game with Geno getting sacked on 4th and 8, trying to drive down there and win the game. And it's just really disappointing. Can't throw the 2 interceptions that he threw, and he just, he didn't have it this game. And also, Pete Carroll went for it a couple times on 4th down, which in retrospect probably shouldn't have done. I think teams going for it on 4th down because of the analytics, it's becoming a thing. But there are some teams that are just doing it too much. Make culpa to the entire NFL. Nobody do the brotherly shove anymore, except for Philly, because they're the only team that can pull it off. I forget who attempted it. Was it the Cowboys that tried it on Monday Night Football and it was a disaster? I think it was. Stop doing it.
Victor would know because he's a Cowboys fan. He also says there should be no expectations with the Bears. He should know he lives in Chicago. He knows what the disappointment that is the Chicago Bears. Listen, I'm gonna go on a little rant myself. I hate this era of analytics between baseball, football. Now it's creeping into hockey. It's been in basketball for a while. Every time I hear about the analytics, I want to commit seppuku. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. Between, I just I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I believe that there can be a mix of both, but you still have to go. You still should look at game flow. You should still just trust your gut sometimes, for lack of a better term. Why was Bobby Cox such a great manager for the Atlanta Braves? Because he trusted his gut. Joe
Torre. Same thing with Joe Torre.
Yes,
same way.
And every once in a while, look at it right now. The longtime manager of the Cubs and the Angels before that, Joe Madden. He trusts his gut for better or worse, and sometimes he gets lampooned for it. He's lost jobs because of it. But look what happens to every team that he manages over time. The Rays were good when I think he was the bench coach there. The Angels, they became decent under Joe Madden. He broke the curse for the Cubs. And now, if I'm not mistaken, is he not the manager of the Texas Rangers? Or am I like...
No, that's Bruce Bochy.
Oh, Bruce Bochy, that's right.
Joe Madden currently is not...
not employed.
Is not have a job, but apparently he's interested. I can't remember which managerial job he's currently looking at. You know who I blame the most for this analytics era and this data-driven era? Davey Johnson. because
Oh,
he's the one
yeah.
who started it all with the 86 Mets.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
we talked about our disappointments, Dustin. We got to bring out our slow clap for the biggest disappointment. I saw the guy with the glass of whiskey. He just grabs the whiskey
Yeah.
and just gives that look. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll go over the rest of Week 6's action, our most notable events or performances, the highest take of the week, and what. And actually, you know what? We forgot the most entertaining game. There were really entertaining games.
Yeah.
We're going to skip over that category, but
Nah, it was an ugly week of football. Like I said, if the
It was
aliens
ugly.
came down and said, "Hey, why do you guys love football so much?" I would not show them this week.
don't watch NFL Week 6 in 2023.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break from our friends over at SeatGeek. Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets. That's right, folks. SeatGeek is now a premier sponsor at Belly Up Sports. Football season in full swing, college football season, NFL, hockey season, NHL, they're in full swing. They're in the full swing. Major League Baseball playoffs, if you happen to live in that locale. NBA is coming soon. Not only can you get sports tickets, again, as that handsome man mentioned in that commercial, you can get tickets to music concerts, Broadway shows, different plays and musicals, comedy shows. If it requires a ticket through a box office, you can find it on SeatGeek. So you go to SeatGeek.com, you find your event, you get your tickets at checkout. You enter promo code BellyUpSports. You get $20 off your first purchase of $50 or more. For me, NHL season's going on right now. It just started last week. I'm planning on going to the January 4th game in New Jersey because the super rookie sensation, Connor Bedard, is going to be visiting the New Jersey Devils. I'm hoping to have Dustin with me and a bunch of other friends with me. Going to be a great time, but we're going to use promo code BellyUpSports at checkout at SeatGeek.com. Going to save ourselves a little bit of cash along with getting some tickets for that game. So check it out.
Yeah.
SeatGeek.com, BellyUpSports promo code at checkout, $20 off your order. All right, Dustin, most notable performance. Who's the one player who impressed you this week in NFL Week 6?
Yeah, for me, like I said, largely an ugly week of football this week, but the impressive performance for me was Kyren Williams, because he has come in for the LA Rams, and he's done a great job, really. And the Rams, as a Seahawks fan, I begrudgingly tip my hat to them. Maybe this is still me rationalizing that first loss of the season, but the Rams have been more competitive than I think a lot of people believed, and Kyron's been a big reason why. In this past game, he had 158 yards on 20 carries and a touchdown. Just a dominating run performance. Now, I know Arizona, not really a vaunted run defense, but he did what you're supposed to do when you're playing against a team that is still kind of rebuilding and figuring things out. He dominated them.
Yep. Yeah, that was an impressive performance with LA. Sean McVay's finally run the ball. Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew? Who knew Sean McVay would run the football? And like you said, Dustin, the Rams did it rather effectively. So my most notable performance, the guy who impressed me the most this week, Detroit Lions quarterback Jared Goff.
Yeah.
30 of 44, 353 yards, 2 touchdowns in a former NFC Central beating as the Lions beat former NFC Central rival Tampa Bay, who are wearing those
the
creamsicle
creamsicles.
the creamsicle orange uniforms, which brought me back to my childhood. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember when those uniforms were still around. And I really wish to make them permanent, because those colors they're iconic. It's an
Yeah.
iconic uniform. And
They're great ones.
They were dog's breakfast the first 2 years of their existence, but who cares?
Mhm.
It's a great uniform. It's a classic uniform. But Jared Goff, and that kind of leads me to my hottest individual take of the week. I believe, and I really hope, and I'm not saying this because Mike Brown, who's one of the co-founders of Belly Up Sports, possibly listening or watching right now. I'm not saying to kiss his butt. However, I do want to say the Detroit Lions may have what it takes not only to earn the top seed in the NFC, but they could be a Super Bowl team. This is a very competitive team. They play their guts out every single week. Dan Campbell has them believing, and this team does it on both offense and defense and special teams. I was going back and forth with watching the red zone coverage, and you would see them make a big play, whether it be on offense. Jameson Williams has first touchdown.
Yes.
Had his first touchdown this week. Their defense was doing pretty well. They managed to handle Baker Mayfield and that Tampa Bay offense. Special teams doing an effective job. I got nothing but good things to say about this Detroit Lions team. And it's been a very long time since I could say that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what, Ryan? I applaud you for giving Jared Goff specifically his flowers, because I remember as a Seahawks fan, I am familiar with his time on the Rams. First off, when he was drafted, Jeff Fisher came out and said, "Oh, it's a long way. He may be fourth string on the roster." He basically said he's got a long way to go before he can be a starter in this league. And then Jeff Fisher was let go. Sean McVay comes in and brings Jared Goff to the promised land. You know, Jared Goff did go to a Super Bowl with the Rams.
Yeah, they did.
But a lot of people at that time said Sean McVay is giving him the plays in the headsets. He's telling them audibles in the headsets. It's not really Jared Goff doing it. So he doesn't really get any credit for that performance.
It's a damn shame too.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think he's come out and he's proved a lot of people, because it's not a fluke now. You know, I have to say Geno's performance last year was great, but there's always that thing in the back of my mind that it's like, can he do it again? Can he do it? And Jared Goff, he started out gangbusters last year, and people were saying, like, you know, but can he keep this up? Blah, blah, blah. And he's kept it up, and he has just improved in Detroit. He knows the playbook really well. And as you said, the coaching of Dan Campbell, we have lauded Mr. Campbell, Coach Campbell, many times here on the show, and he deserves it. And they got pieces everywhere now. The tight end, Laporta.
Sam Laporta.
He's looking good. They got everybody. I got on him for trading Hawkinson, and it seems that they made the right move. And they got Aiden Hutchinson. He's a game wrecker. Jameson Williams will start to come into his own. The running back situation is very good there. They got a lot of good pieces.
James Montgomery. Yeah. Yeah. He's turned into something special. And moving on from that football purgatory, that's the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Victor Locke, I know you're listening, but he'll agree with me. But yeah, for me, that's my hottest individual take of the week. Dustin, what's your hottest individual take from this week?
Well, I'll make it short and sweet. I'm coming out and I'm saying that DeMeco Ryans should be considered already for Coach of the Year. If he is not the Coach of the Year, he's got to be one of the front runners already, because he has the Texans at 3-3. Who would have saw this coming? And I've seen some of the clips. I've seen some of the clips after the games. He's got those players buying in a way that Dan Campbell does in Detroit as well. They are starting to rally around him. He is bringing this young team together. They got a rookie quarterback now. CJ Stroud, He looks like the real deal so far. He did throw an interception this past week, so the streak is over. But CJ Stroud looks like a real one. But I think a lot of it has to do with DeMeco Ryans. He's got that defense. He's starting to build that defense, and the team's confidence is high, and he's dealing with how should I put this delicately? He's dealing with a horrific ownership situation. Just a terrible. The McNair, they don't put any effort into this. So that makes what he's doing even more impressive. And I'll tell you, if they get rid of DeMeco Ryans, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I thought they should have kept David Culley. Then I thought Lovie Smith did a good enough job to keep his job. He got axed. If they
but he blew getting the number 1 pick in the draft this year.
He
but they would have picked CJ Stroud anyway.
He did that. I did, but that was an FU moment by Lovie, and you know what?
That was an FU moment.
Old
Graybeard,
yes, old Graybeard. I give him that, and he was just like, "Screw you guys, I'm going home." But if the ownership,
screw the McNairs, I'm out of here.
Yeah. If ownership gets rid of DeMeco Ryans, then they just hate the fans of their own team.
They just hate themselves.
Yeah,
all that for that matter. Victor Locke agrees with me about Chicago Bears being football purgatory. He says, "Indeed, I do, Mr. McCoffey."
Yeah,
and Kittim says, "If he's not coach of the year, I'm done." I think she's referring to DeMeco Ryans being a coach of the year, individual coach of the year. Yeah. Hey, listen, if they keep on this pace and they're competitive in the AFC South and they could possibly play themselves into one of the wild card spots, absolutely go for it. Go for it as the coach, as being the coach of the year. I guess you could argue if the Jets do the same thing, Robert Saleh could be considered.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. That's what I was going to ask you, because I missed Victory Monday this week. But I didn't know.
Shame.
Yeah. I was going to say, how do you?
We had our Carcucci boards and we were celebrating.
Yeah. No, but how have you felt overall as a Jets fan about Saleh's coaching this year? And I know a lot of people were getting on him for sticking with Zach Ryan or Zach.
Wilson.
I'm Zach Wilson all over the place. I think I meant to say for sticking with Zach space Ryan, but what do you think about it?
I got it.
Yeah.
This week, well, considering, this week was a slog, especially on offense. They couldn't do a whole lot on offense, but defensively, they made the adjustments necessary. And I said this on Victory Monday. They played in the span of 3 weeks. They played both Super Bowl teams from last year. Guess how many points collectively those two teams scored in the second half of those games?
I'm going to go with, am I going to go with a goose egg?
Close. 3.
3? Oh, that was going to be my...
They did have the goose egg against the Eagles, but they only allowed 3 points against the Kansas City Chiefs in their game on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
This defense, I'm so proud of this defense. I'm so proud of the way that this coaching staff has adjusted to the second half. There seems to be no panic. This team doesn't die. This team does not die. This team is unkillable. I mean, I'm saying this as I go into the bye week, but here's the thing too. I forgot to mention this on Snowman's program. I forgot to mention this on Victory Monday, but this is a team that could possibly go on a run. I could see them winning their next 4 games because this is what they're scheduled for the next 4 games.
All right.
Actually, they're not leaving the state of New Jersey / New York for the next month, including this past week. So home against the Eagles, they win against the Eagles. Bye week. Then they play the Giants, which is considered an away game.
Yeah.
But really, is it going to be? I foresee the Giants. I foresee Giants fans selling their tickets pretty quickly to the New York Jets fans.
Mm-hmm.
Then they play on Sunday night they play on Monday night against the Chargers.
Oh,
going to fly in to MetLife Stadium,
and we know what the Chargers will do.
And we know what the Chargers will do. The great Standino will probably surrender the lead in the second half, like he usually does, or blow the game. Period. Then they travel to Los Angeles for a Sunday night game against the Raiders. It's going to be a tough game, but I think it's a winnable game depending on the status of one Jimmy Garoppolo. And then they go to Buffalo to play a Bills team that's been underwhelming this year, with the exception of them playing the Dolphins a couple weeks ago.
And a team they already beat.
And a team they've already beaten. They're in the Bills' heads. So, and then the week after that is the Black Friday game against the Dolphins, which is going to be the really good test for them. So I can see them go on a run of four or five straight wins coming up to the game against Miami.
Yeah, not unreasonable. Not unreasonable. I was waiting to hear the thunderclap there because we got a little Rye Stradamus. There it is.
As requested.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Rod Uncensored says, I feel like 22 Jets fans. I think he means 2022 Jets fans. I'm not really sure. If you could clarify that for me, Rod, I appreciate it. He's not saying Dolphins fan. He's a Patriots fan, and he's going through the motions right now for the first. I think for the first time in forever, all Patriots fans are kind of going through the motions. Well, we're going to take our last commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about what we're looking forward to in Week 7 of the NFL. When we come back, so stick around and enjoy this message from our friends at Invader Coffee. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. That's right, folks. Great coffee at an affordable price, and it's a great coffee company. Veteran owned. You're helping out you're supporting a veteran owned business based out of Austin, Texas. I will say the shipping's a little bit pricey, but guess what? I ordered my Invader Coffee about a week or two ago. Showed up in 2 days.
Oh yeah.
And the coffee is excellent. It's excellent. I ran in my K-Cups. So I got to order more. I haven't gotten around to trying the pumpkin pecan yet. I know Dustin swears by it. But hopefully this weekend I got some time to chill out, just settle down. Last week was kind of busy. Had to do some traveling, but this weekend is pretty clear and open. Pretty free open. So I'm gonna enjoy myself some pumpkin pecan in the French press.
Oh yeah,
have a little French press coffee.
That's the way to do it.
Have myself some Invader coffee. And guess what, Dustin? Even though pumpkin season is currently in effect right now, the Christmas season is coming.
Oh yeah,
and that means holiday blends. Bad Santa's coming back.
Yes.
Jolly Java's coming back. I can't wait for the Christmas ones to come out. And I know, Dustin, you're a big fan. You enjoy their coffee a lot as well.
Oh yeah. And the Bad Santa one is one that I really like. And
and Frosty's the Frosty's blend too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, of course. The Snickerdoodle blend with the Abominable Snowman. I always love that. And the thing I like about these is because I drink my coffee black. It's not because I'm opposed to creamer or anything like that, but I just, I don't want to start putting all that extra caloric stuff in there because I know it's a slippery slope. But I do like a flavored coffee. And what I like about Invader is that the flavor does not overwhelm the coffee. They always do a great job of blending them together into a nice symphony for your morning breakfast.
Absolutely do. So go ahead, if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, go use our affiliate link to help out the show. Order some coffee, use promo code BELLYUP at checkout, you get 15% off your order. And again, you might pay a little bit more for the shipping, but you get it in only a couple days. It's at your door, ready for your consumption. Quick point of clarification in the comments, Rod says dumpster fire New England Patriots front office, and you know what that means.
We might just talk about that a little bit later.
We might just talk about it. So we're going to talk about NFL Week 7, what we're looking forward to. I'm actually looking forward to a stress-free day because the Jets aren't playing. It's been
you're
such
on the
an emotional
bye.
roller coaster. The last 6 weeks, I need a break. So did the Jets, but also some other teams. But in the meantime, we're going to tell you which matchups we're looking forward to the most. And Dustin, I kind of curious as to which game you're looking forward to seeing the most on Sunday.
Well, aside from manning the smoker, even if it rains on me, because I'm having a football get together. Ryan's gonna be there. A few other guys are gonna be there. We're gonna get after it with the food. Always do. But the matchup that I am most looking forward to is the Dolphins Eagles. I gotta wait all the way for Sunday night. Don't worry, I won't finish it. We don't want a copyright strike.
Carrie Underwood, big fan.
Yeah. We know she's watching. We know she listens.
Big
Now-
fan. Her and her husband Mike Fisher. Shout out to
Yeah,
the Nashville Predators.
Yeah. Now I want to see. I'm curious about this game for a couple reasons. And first and foremost, I want to see how the Philadelphia Eagles respond after a tough loss against the New York Jets. And I want to see specifically how Jalen Hurts responds after throwing those 3 interceptions. And on the Dolphins side of things, the Dolphins, I got a friend who's a Dolphins fan. He will be there on Sunday for a little bit of time.
Okay.
But the Dolphins, they were trailing to the Carolina Panthers early, and then they kind of righted the ship. I want to see how they play with what I would like to call tougher competition. So I'm very intrigued on this game. This is one of those ones when they schedule those primetime games, they got this one right.
Yeah, this is a good one. It's gonna be. I think this is one of the Sunday night games. That's gonna be good. I mean, last week's game between the Bills and the Giants was trash.
Oh man!
And I gotta pull this element out for you. I'm gonna this is my description of the Giants Bills game from Sunday.
Ready and pull trash.
Straight garbage.
Yeah,
And this will be a much better matchup for Sunday night. My most intriguing matchup is going to be an NFC South matchup between the Falcons and the Buccaneers. Falcons had a tough loss last week. Shout out to our guy Stacey Morgan from the Morgan Man Sports Podcast. I'm sure he was in a pretty sour mood on Monday after the Falcons drove the field trying to get that game-winning touchdown. Unfortunately, Desmond Ridder threw an awful interception in the end zone, and now it's fait accompli, as the French would say. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers, we're not sure what the status of Baker Mayfield's going to be on Sunday. We're kind of waiting in the wings for that, but it's going to be in Tampa Bay. So I would hope to see him play in this game because I want to see how both teams come back after, I would say, gut-wrenching losses, at least for the Falcons on Sunday against the Commanders, and I would say a stomping. Again, the Buccaneers getting a mud hole stomped in them by the Lions on this past Sunday. So I'm kind of curious to see how both teams react to their losses from last week. Victor Locke agrees with you. And hey, Uncle Al says, giddy up.
Yeah, you'll be there.
He'll be there. Awesome. All right, Desperation City is on Sunday. I'm going to take the lead on this one. Bills Patriots is my Desperation City, and I'll give you 2 reasons. The Bills currently in second place in the AFC East. They're trailing the Dolphins by 1 game. They beat the Dolphins a couple weeks ago, and they're trying to keep pace with the same Dolphins in that division. While the Patriots, well, we got to see. We got to see if they're going to save their season. And this game's at Gillette Stadium. It's a home game for the Patriots, but I got to kind of wonder how long. And Rod, if you're still out there watching, I got to wonder how long it'll be before Patriots fans just say, we got to let Belichick's done. And Mac Jones is done. We gotta move on. We gotta move on to a new era. I mean, it's great. We had those 6 Super Bowls, 6 Super Bowl titles, but maybe time to move on from Bill Belichick. Dustin, what do you think?
Oh, I think to me, you did pick the correct Desperation City matchup because I got the same one for pretty much the same reasons that you so eloquently laid out. So I don't need to say much more on it other than I say I don't necessarily think that Belichick needs to step away completely, but I think they at least need to start with getting him out of the front office. Have him coach. Don't let him be the GM anymore because he has drafted not well for a while now. He's had some decent picks that have those are what people remember. But I'm going to say this, and I know that there's a lot of haters of Tom Brady out there, of which I was often guilty of being one. But I think even the most ardent Patriot fan would probably agree at this point that Tom Brady covered up a lot of mistakes. You know, they take a receiver in the 6th round or in the 3rd round that was graded as a 6th rounder by other teams. Brady makes him look great. You know, you've seen enough of Belichick and Brady separated from each other. Father Time was going to catch up with Brady eventually. Belichick had the advantage there, and I will say that I still think that Belichick is a defensive wizard. You know, he still can do that, but don't let him be the GM at minimum. If you don't want to get rid of him entirely, relegate him to coaching.
I think he'll have a tough time giving up that particular hat.
He wants the control.
As Bill Parcells once eloquently said in a press conference when he became the head coach of the New York Jets back in the day, and God, I wish he had never left.
Yeah.
He said, if you want to make the dinner, you got to be able to buy the groceries.
Yep.
And Belichick is for better or for worse, is a Bill Parcells disciple. And he'll want to put both hats on.
Yeah.
But I don't think he has it in him to let go of both roles. I think for that matter, he might retire, or Robert Kraft will say, listen, it's been a great run, but we got to
move on. Yeah.
Before you, Dustin.
What? Oh,
really bold prediction. It'll never happen. It'll never, ever happen unless he decides to leave. But what happens if Bill Belichick were to step away from the Patriots, retire happily? Patriots bring in Nick Saban as their new head coach GM.
Oof. Yeah, just a Bill Belichick 2.0, huh?
Yep, pretty much. Pretty much. But I would want to see if he would shelve his pride a little bit and take the coach role and have someone else come in and take the GM role. I don't think that'll ever happen because I think he's having too much success being the head coach of Alabama, where he has control over recruiting and bringing in all the right guys.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be interesting to see if Bob Kraft will ever do that. But
yeah, and
he's coached the NFL before. He's been okay.
Well, and
actually, don't ask Dolphins fans that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and the thing is that could be a nice way of, like, you know, Kraft kind of, because we know he has a great relationship with Belichick, so it would be a nice way of Kraft kind of being like, okay, I'm passing the torch. Because do you think that Nick Saban, having the relationship that they have, if they did bring in Nick Saban, you think he's going to kick Bill Belichick out of a practice? No. So, you know, it'd be kind of like a nice way of, okay, Bill, you still have some input. You want to retire, that's fine. Play some golf, come by our practices, tell us what you think.
We'll bring you in as an advisor.
Yep. But I would remind both of those men to look for one example. And as a Seahawks fan, I will talk about it. Now, it's a long time ago now. It was in the aughts, the single digits of the 2000s. But Mike Holmgren, he came into the Seahawks to be the GM / head coach. And when did the Seahawks finally go to the Super Bowl? In 2006. What happened the year before? Mike Holmgren was relieved of his GM duties, and they brought in Tim Ruskell to be the GM. And Mike Holmgren, I think they brought in Tim Ruskell in 2000. I'm trying to remember when they brought him in, but it was a little bit before the Super Bowl run. But it was once that Mike Holmgren was able to give up that GM hat. That's when the Seahawks had their run of success with Matt Hasselbeck, Sean Alexander, that whole era. That's when that kicked off. So
and then Holmgren tried to put two hats on in Cleveland, and that flopped. That blew up.
That was terrible. Yeah,
terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah.
All right. Next category. We would rather drink castor oil than watch this game. Dustin, what's your castor oil game of the week?
My castor oil game of the week is.
I need to find a sponsor for this too.
Yeah, we gotta find a company that makes the castor oil. But it's
does it even exist anymore? I mean, I'm just going by the cartoons I watched when I was a kid.
I had to pick it up for my mom at CVS, like back in 2018. So as of then, I knew it still existed. But my castor oil game of the week is the Jags versus the Saints. For a couple reasons. One, first and foremost, it's a Thursday night football game, which very few of those have been good. The teams, I love having more football, okay? And I know it'll never happen because Amazon dumped all that money but Thursday night football, it shouldn't be a thing except for on Thanksgiving, okay? The teams are never ready to play. The product doesn't look good. So that's my first reason why. The second reason why is there's a chance that Trevor Lawrence may not play in this game for the Jags. And lastly, Derek Carr has been awful for the Saints, which I did not see coming. I thought that this was a great chance for both parties because I thought that Derek Carr, I thought Raiders fans were always unnecessarily hard on him. I thought he would have been a great fit for your New York Jets before the season.
So did I.
Yeah. And he just has not done well. So this game does not have me excited. But what is your pick for the week?
So my castor oil game of the week is the Packers and Broncos. What more can we say that hasn't already been said about the Denver Broncos this season?
Yeah.
My God. Somehow the Packers are favored by 1 point in this game, but only 1 point. But right now it's just going to be. I'm looking at this. It's a slugfest between two mediocre teams right now. Sorry, I apologize to my friend Dave, who's a Packers fan. I apologize to my buddy Andy, who's a Broncos fan. This game's gonna suck.
Yeah,
it's gonna suck on ice. It's gonna suck on toast. It's not gonna be a great game. I thank the Lord Jesus Christ above that there is red zone. So I'm pretty sure that Green Bay fans and Broncos fans are saying the same thing because they don't want to watch those two garbage teams either.
Yeah, and Scott Hansen, I can hear him now. He's going to say, Packers fans, Broncos fans, you think that we're not showing enough of your game? It's because no team is entering the red zone. He said that before. like
Victor says, Broncos country, let's ride.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and your uncle asks a pretty good question. Is Belichick better than Wink Martindale?
Man.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. The television host or the defensive coordinator for the Giants? I just want to clarify that, Al.
Yeah, which Wink said he didn't get a wink of sleep when he was having to face whatever defense. I forget, or whatever offense. He
probably the Bills
kept him up. Yeah, I think the
Bills are the Eagles because the Eagles owned the Giants last year.
Yeah.
All right, last category for this week: player to watch in Week 7. Dustin, I watched the Wire reports and we got some breaking news. We had some breaking news before our show began. So apparently Mecole Hardman who signed with the Jets during the offseason. I think it was 1 year, $4 million deal. He's being traded back to Kansas City for a late round pick in next year's draft. The Jets simply couldn't find some room for him in the locker room, in the wide receiver room. I think a lot had to do with the emergence of Xavier Gibson, the outstanding rookie for the Jets. But he goes back to the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm kind of curious to see how he'll help his old team. I know the Chiefs have had some struggles this year.
Yes.
Offensively. Maybe it has to do with Matt Nagy calling the plays. Maybe it doesn't. But they bring back an old guy who knows the system, knows the offense well, can adjust to the situation, to the situations. Was helpful in last year's Super Bowl run. So I'm kind of curious to see how he'll be when he comes back to the Chiefs this week. Not that it matters because the NFL is helping them a lot. But I'm just kind of curious to see what he'll do for the Chiefs in this game. They're going to be playing. Let's see who they're playing this week. Oh, they're playing the Chargers this week. So
Yeah,
I think he'll adjust, but it'll be interesting to see him back in a Chiefs uniform. Dustin, who is the player to watch in your mind in Week 7?
Well, for me, it's one Brock Purdy because I want to see. There are two sides to the Brock Purdy coin. He's got his supporters who are like, Brock is great. He won the starting job. He helps this
Snowman, we're talking to
you. And then there's the other side that says, okay, and I'm paraphrasing here, but they're basically saying, okay, Brock Purdy is Trent Dilfer 2.0. He does just enough. He's got a great defense. He's got talent around him. He's a game manager and nothing more. And I think that if Deebo Samuel and Christian McCarthy both are out for this game, which
wait, my nephew's playing this game?
Yeah. Oh, McCaffrey. Oh, Jesus. Well, I'm off the rails. But if
another Dustin Gaff,
yeah,
in the canon of no credentials required.
Yeah, we got to get like some sort of Dustin's draft.
We got Les Claypool, Christian McCarthy. Les Claypool, Christian McCarthy.
Yeah, it's me with like a
Sam Weiss is the ghost of Sam Weiss is the head coach.
Yes. Frank Wycheck is out there. Yeah, we need me with like a giraffe neck and it just says Dustin's Gaff or something. All right, but anyway.
Any sponsors out there who like to cover this segment?
Yeah. Come on, Coca-Cola, we're talking to you. Now. But if Christian McCaffrey is out for this game, then it's going to have to fall to Brock Purdy. He's going to have to kind of prove it. So I will have my eye on him and also see how he responds to the loss against a Browns team this past week. So I'll be curious to see how Mr. Purdy does.
Yeah, I'm looking at the injury update right now. As of yesterday, Deebo Samuel is day to day, and Christian McCaffrey is questionable for Monday's game against the Vikings. So it could still have his two best weapons out there. So and in addition to Brandon Ayuk, he's not hurt. So they'll be watching. The 49ers fans will be watching with bated breath because they had that extra day for the players to rest for Monday night when they play the Vikings. Ugh, that's gonna be an ugly game too. It's another qualifier for the Castor Oil game of the week.
I almost picked it.
You almost picked it, yeah.
I almost picked it, but then I was like, if those two stars are out, then it levels the playing field a little bit, but still.
Yeah, I think it'll be all right if you've got Deebo or Christian McCaffrey in fantasy. Well, let's go wrap it up for another week of No Credentials Required. Just want to remind you before we take off about our socials, which are right down here below on Twitter, Instagram, and the scarcely used TikTok. It's at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ. youtube.com/@NoCredsREQ. Dustin, we're at 317 subscribers, so we're
Oh, yeah.
slowly climbing that ladder.
Yeah,
rung
we're climbing
by
that Jacob's ladder.
beautiful rung with a tear in my eye. Shut up, Ric Flair. But and we're also on Rumble, so look for us on Rumble. But if you don't mind, before doing that, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to our other social media platforms. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on a myriad of podcast networks, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, wherever you podcast. Rate it and review. 5 stars is the number of stars we would like you to rate. And if you're on a platform where you can review us, no matter how disgusting or how outstanding it is, we will read your review on the air. And again, this has been another edition of No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. We'll be back next week, God willing, on our regular night, which is Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Join us then. We'll be talking NFL Week 7. We'll be recapping the week, and we'll also be looking forward to things in Week 8. So, for Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Thanks for watching or listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Good night, everybody.